it's disappointing and frustrating, especially turning up today with the opportunity to go and win a Test match. To have been bowled out is hard to take, and it's be hard for the lads to take. But also you've got to look at how we responded from Lords and the performance we put in at Headingley, and we've got to look to do exactly the same when we get up to Old Trafford now.
How confident are you and the guys that you can still salvage something from this series?
Absolutely, very confident. As we've just recently shown, we're more than capable of turning things around very quickly. And we've got to make sure that we get ourselves in a frame of mind over the next couple of days to do just that. So there's every confidence that we can go up to Old Trafford and get a win.
If that's to happen, what needs to change? What needs to improve?
Well, I think you look at this game. I mean, it's been frustrating today to lose 10 wickets, but I think actually where the game was lost, or where we could have really stamped our authority on things, was earlier in the game. I think we should have got a bigger lead first time round with the bat. Now it'd been nice to have another 100 runs actually, and then we're looking at a very different game. So I think we've got to be a little bit more ruthless there. Those first innings runs there, I think that really cost us. And as well, our catching, we did put down a few chances. Some of them were extremely difficult. That has to be said, but at the same time, you give chances and half chances to world-class players, they take them, and we've seen that throughout this game.
And will you rest and rotate the attack at Old Trafford? James Anderson, 4 Test back.
We'll have to look at things. We'll see how everyone pulls up the next couple of days, and we'll be trying to make smart decisions around that. I mean, it's been frustrating summer in terms of our bowling resources went from having so many to a lot of injuries to contend with. So we'll have to try and manage that as well as we can, and make sure that we've got an attack that can take 20 wickets at Old Trafford.
Will that be his decision? Will you ask Jimmy, how are you feeling? How will you come to the decision?
I think you have to weigh everything up. You have to take everything into account and make sure that physically he's in the right place to be able to play a Test match, but also and that he feels that he can get through it. Because at the same time, even with his quality, if he goes down injured, it leaves us in a very difficult place, not only for the rest of the game, but for the winter as well. So, look, we have to be smart about it. We have to make sure we make the right calls. But ultimately, we've got to try and find a way of winning as well. So it's a delicate balancing act, and one that we'll try and make sure we get right.
And will Jots Butler be available?
Find out soon.
You mentioned that word ruthlessness before. You mentioned it just there to James, and actually after the last game, you talked about doubling down and not letting sort of the position slip that you got. Do you feel like, for all the talent in the side, do you feel like you are a ruthless side or a hard team?
I think something that we've got to get better at. I think it's something that we've got to keep looking to improve, and recognising those key moments in games and enforcing it a little bit more. We did it very well at Headingley, and I think we didn't quite manage to do it this time around. So it's something that we've got to be more consistent at. With a lot of other things within this format, we've got to look to be more consistent at a few different things. And I think that mindset, you look at that spell from Bumrah and recognise a key moment in the game and turn the game on its head this afternoon. It's something that we've got to look to make sure that we're doing as well.
And where do you feel you're at personally? You talk about Jimmy being tired, and Ollie as well has played a lot of cricket and bowled a lot of overs. But how's the sort of mental toll really on you going through the ringer every day at times? It seems that it's always, I don't know, nothing easy at the moment. Is it been a tough summer?
It has been a tough summer. I think there's no hiding from it. It's been a grueling schedule. There's been some wonderful cricket, some very high intense cricket at the same time. But it's been it's part and parcel of the Test match game. You play a long series like this. It's one of the challenges of Test cricket, and something that you have to be able to manage. And so I'm trying really hard to manage as best as I can. So I mean, that's all you can do is throw yourself into it, give yourself the best chance, and give the best account of yourself. And certainly feel like I've done that so far. It'll be exactly the same when we get to Old Trafford. Every single one of us has to really throw ourselves into that game, make sure that we leave nothing on the sidelines there, and put in a really strong performance to get a win and level this series.
Yeah. Obviously, we know that you can't win the series now, having lost the series to New Zealand. It's how big of a point of pride is that to make sure you don't, I guess like the Ashes maybe in 2019, that you don't let India get out here with a win under their belt?
Absolutely the case. You never want to see, you never want to lose any test series. So it's going to be really important that we bounce back very quickly, just as we did a week ago, and put in a similar sort of performance when we get to Old Trafford.
Joe, in terms of resources, do you feel like you're sort of getting towards the point where you're stretched to breaking point almost? You know, you look at the bowlers you've got, the bowlers who are injured, even guys like Saqib going down yesterday. Do you think you're at that stage?
Like I say, we all we can do is make sure we manage the players that are involved in the squad as best as we can, and those guys throw everything into the games. It has been frustrating, the amount of injuries that we're currently having to contend with. But it's unfortunately part and parcel of the game at the minute, and the current climate that we're living in. So we just got to make sure that we do everything in the best interest of the individual players, but also giving ourselves the best chance of winning at the same time.
Can I just ask about the approach today and kind of what the plan was? Obviously, it didn't end up working, but what your approach was to that chase?
I think we had to earn the right to get ourselves in a position to dictate terms. It was always going to have to be the case that we would need wickets in hand. And we certainly set things up nicely. Going into lunch, it would have been nice to be only one down. But it was more if we'd got in a position near tea where we had wickets in hand, then we could have definitely looked to put our foot on the gas and put India under pressure. And when there's wickets in hand there, you always feel like you can score quickly. India would have probably had to be a little bit more defensive with some of the fields, and they would have had that in the back of the mind that we'd chase them down. But unfortunately, we couldn't quite take it deep enough, and that was a wonderful spell that really turned the game. They got the ball reversing nicely, and they took advantage of it, and we just didn't have the right answers, which is slightly frustrating.
Just on a slightly similar theme, Joe, the players that are unavailable, Jofra Archer, Stuart Broad, not for 1 second will you make an excuse, but are these the sort of things that we all need to take into account when evaluating these results and performances?
Yeah, you look at the names you just mentioned, they're world-class players, and it is frustrating. It's that we've had to manage throughout the whole year, but at the same time, we look at the group of players that we got here and absolutely feel that we shouldn't be in this position within the series. As well as India have played this week, I still feel like we should have got something out of this test match. And we have to keep looking to learn and keep looking to get better. And as I mentioned earlier, be a little bit more ruthless at certain points in the game. It's looking at certain situations and saying, right, I'm going to grab this moment and take on that, or get in that advantageous position, which goes on to be so crucial within a test match.
Just talked about being more ruthless. How do you learn ruthlessness? How do you teach ruthlessness? By
putting yourself out there time and time again, putting yourself in a position to go and do that, and that's all you can ask of the group. Until you've actually done it, it's very hard to explain. But you've got to look at a certain situation. If you get thrown the ball, or if you're 30 not out, you go on and you have that bit between your teeth, and you turn the game to get that big partnership with your mate at the other end, make a big 100, or you get a couple of quick wickets and take advantage of some conditions that are in your favour and turn the game on its head. So we've done it throughout the series, just not consistently enough, and it's something that we'll keep looking to try and focus on.
Joe, does this go down as a case of missed opportunities? It's only 4 days ago that India were 127 on the opening day.
Yeah, as I said, there's been a number of periods within the game where I felt like we were ahead and we had a great chance. And to be sat here with nothing to show from the week is frustrating. There's no hiding from that, and there's no point trying to sugarcoat it. We should have got something from this game. But I think we've got to look at the whole test match, not look at isolated incidences, and see collectively where we can get better. And that's exactly what we will do. And we'll make sure that when we turn up to Old Trafford, we've got that bit between our teeth again. and we use this in a positive way to get ourselves ready for what's now a very big game. Bounce back just like we did at Lords.
Just quickly, Craig looked in pain when he was dismissed. The ball struck him on the arm. Is he okay, or is he going for the dreaded X-ray or scan?
He's currently icing. It was quite a nasty blow. He was in a little bit of pain when he got back into the dressing room. So, hopefully that calms down and it's just a knock. It's obviously that funny bone. It can be a bit nervy and you just don't really know. So I think we've just got to give it a little time, not panic, and see how things go over the next 24 hours.